The first part of this afternoon is going to be some economic data on soil health practices by Jennifer Hahn from the Minnesota Soil Health Coalition and Brian Pfarr. Now I just lost, there we go, get the bio out here. So Jennifer grew up on a dairy farm and has been assessing and providing conservation planning since 2005. Jennifer has provided soil and soil health technical support to the NRCS in Minnesota, completing site evaluations, soil health testing, and providing technical services and outreach to staff and producers. She also spent time analyzing profitability of conservation practices to help producers increase their ROI. Jennifer is the Minnesota Soil Health Coalition Coordinator to provide administrative, educational, and outreach activities to support the coalition and voluntary adoption of soil health in Minnesota. We also have Brian Pfarr of Redwood County, who is on the steering committee that helped shape the Minnesota Soil Health Coalition and is also chairman of the board. Brian grew up farming with his father in Redwood County. He's also in one of the case studies in the packet in your packet here today. Brian grew up farming with his father in Redwood County and always knew he wanted to continue the family farm. Brian and his father Bill raised corn, soybeans, wheat, and rotationally grazed cattle. Brian started experimenting with cover crops in 2010 and began integrating reduced tillage and no-till. They have also been reducing their fertilizer rates due to the increase in organic matter and the increased nutrient efficiency of their soils as they increase soil health. Brian enjoys and is driven by the learning curve of increasing soil health and wants to improve his soils for his two children. Brian and Bill's farm was Minnesota Ag Water Quality Certified in 2017. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. How are you guys doing? Yeah, that was an awesome lunch, right? Yeah. Okay, hopefully it's soon enough after lunch that you're not getting tired yet, right? We haven't hit that lull. But yep, I'm Jennifer Hahn. I love soils. I love digging into them. I love learning about them. I love assessing them and helping people improve them. And talking about your soil structure and your soil biology. For people like me, that gets me going. Well, when I talk to farmers, that's awesome. But how does that impact me? What does that do for me? Cool, we have more worms. So I started working with some guys on looking at the economics of it, because if it doesn't pencil out, it doesn't make sense, we can't ask them or expect them to do it. So that's what we're gonna hear about today. So, how are things penciling out? We've got the awesome weather, the last couple of years that has kept us on our toes. The markets, they are so much fun. Labor, quality of life, all that comes into play. So the economics, that came out weird. Okay. So the economic management. So I have some data working with people. So cost of production. So conventional tillage, corn, soybeans. So producers and PZM, that stands for Profit Zone Manager. It's this program that we use to analyze producers' acres, acre by acre, based on their inputs and their yield data. So it's really cool to be able to work with them and see what that was. So producers that I work with that were doing conventional tillage, this is a total cost of production, but without land, because land is so variable, especially across the state. We kept that out. So conventional, it was about $545 an acre. Producers statewide that use the FinBid program, they were at $535 an acre. Strip tillers, ones that I only worked with one, so that wasn't enough people to actually create a data set. I don't have that for mine, but for statewide, that was $480 an acre. For the no-till and cover crops, total cost of production without land, $457 an acre for the guys that I worked with. Statewide, they're showing $477. And the guys that I work with, they were in a variety of areas across the state. It did not include the extreme northwest or the extreme southeast. So my data doesn't include those areas of the state. They are pretty close to what we're seeing in other data sets. And that gives us no-till and cover crops. That's $100 an acre less on average. Net returns, they didn't know show up. Net returns, conventional producers that I work with, it was, it's $5 an acre statewide, we're losing money. The no-till and strip-till, they are gaining money. I think the no-till, strip-till ones that I work with, they were at gaining $112 an acre. So we have that for comparison. Sorry, that got cut off.
But you're gonna have rent in there.
Correct, yep. Land costs are not included in that because,
They made 120 an acre, they didn't make it.
oh, sorry, for the net returns, this did include land costs. Yep, up here, it did not. Yeah, good question, yes. All right, so where are we seeing the savings? So we've heard people talk about, that they're reducing this and cutting back on that. And, if we are going to spend money to have cover crops out there, that's real money to pay for the seed and pay for the seeding. So what offsets those input costs? So I highlighted it hopefully to make it a little bit easier to see. Here we have, this is chisel corn, and this is the no-till with cover crops. Same over on there. So where we're seeing our savings is the spraying, tillage, obviously, fertilizer, pesticide, and herbicides. And with this, what we've got, profit per acre, for the chisel corn, we have $195.15 per acre. This is without land costs. And then for the no-till and cover crops, we have a profit of $350 per acre. All right, so that showed a lot of the inputs. Well, what about your time? What about your labor? Farmers never give themselves enough credit or pay themselves for all the hours that they spend out there. And that does add up. That does make a difference. Your equipment wear and tear. The more equipment you have, the more you have it out there, the more it needs maintenance and things like that. Your equipment depreciation, that's fun. You gotta love that. You bring it home, it's kind of like a car. It's not worth as much once you get it home. Cash flow and debt to income ratio. And lenders are really, really looking at that hard now. So average cost for cover crops. You heard from some of these guys talking about that. We can do cover crops $15, $20, $25 an acre. These seeding rates, these are meeting NRCS standards and specs. Kind of depends on which year you're buying your cereal rye because we had a shortage last year. That was super fun. But on average, lately cereal rye, $13 an acre, oats, $9 an acre, and I love oats because they help form my horizontal fungi associations. They're awesome. And then you get into the fiber mix, $18 an acre, $7, $20 an acre. And these are meeting NRCS standards and specs, meaning you can go and sign up for EQIP or CSP to get some financial assistance. So even if we are creeping up into these higher cost areas, there are financial assistance programs to help you with that. If you don't want to use those programs, you can cut the seeding rates down and still get a good cover crop out there. So cost reductions using no-till cover crops. So this varies depending on what your soils are like when you get started. What your inherent soil properties are, how fast they turn around. So chemicals, we can save 7 to 21 an acre. Fertilizer, we've got some guys raising corn on 6/10 of a pound of nitrogen per bushel instead of 1. I remember when I was young, it was always 1.2, and it was 1. And we're getting down to 0.6. That's awesome. That's very efficient. That's wonderful. Erosion repairs, we really don't think about that. Well, you have washing, you get a gully forming, what are you going to do? You do need to go out and even it out. You need to fix it somehow. So they've averaged that out at about $2 an acre. Soil erosion reduction, 8. Soil quality, and soil biology. Putting numbers on those, very difficult. So take those with a grain of salt. Those are the numbers that are out there. What about yields? All right. Yes, we need to be focusing on economics and not on yields so heavily. The downside, our APHs, we want to make sure we have those good so that we have a good good base for our crop insurance and things like that. So the guys that I was working with, conventional, we were at 195 bushel an acre on corn, no-till and cover crops, they're right there. Statewide, we did have about a 10 bushel an acre difference. All right, so this is really cool too. Sarah came out with a technical bulletin in June of 2019, and this is awesome. They talk about the profits impact on corn for years 1, 2, and 3. That's exciting because what we know that it takes like 3 to 5 years to get our soils in order once we get started, and then we're like, okay, yep, we'll be okay after that. Well, what does it actually look like in the first couple of years? What can we expect? So this data is from what farmers reported, and then they average them. So the first year, depending on what your issues are, you know, if you have a lot of erosion, you have herbicide-resistant weeds, your fertility, we're doing high rates. With all that, even with, they averaged their cover crop at $37 an acre, because they were doing some fancy stuff. But they averaged that out, net return per acre, $51 in the first year. So it can be possible. It all depends on what we're dealing with, and we always have to look at the context out there. Year 5, we're up to $90 an acre. Yield, they also did yield increases. This is really cool too. So we try really hard not to promote. If you do, you know, soil health practices, your yields are going to shoot out of the roof. We're not going to say that. If we can maintain yields, we are happy because we're still reducing our inputs and increasing profitability. But this is something that they did report. So year 1 is about the same. Year 3, we're seeing stuff on beans. Year 5, we're getting a 3% increase on corn and almost a 5% increase on soybeans. To me, that's saying something. That's really exciting because we're doing more with less. Erosion in Minnesota. Oh, this one hurts me. When I see erosion, it's not as bad. It's almost like seeing dead babies all over the field. It hurts me that bad. I know. I love soil. It's so important. But so our average erosion rate in Minnesota is 5.2 tons per acre per year. That does not include gully erosion. This is just wind and water. The stuff that happens and we don't notice. It's not the big stuff. No-till cover crops is about a 10 ton per acre per year. The nutrients that we're losing in that soil, that 5.2 tons, that equals to $45 to $70 per acre per year that we are losing in just nutrients. Not to mention all that organic matter that we're losing in that topsoil, which is where it all is, that has all those nutrients that are bound to it. These are just, and helping to cycle with it. $45 to $70 per acre per year. Gone with the wind and the water, without any work. So, what is soil health? You know, people, there's a lot of information out there on what it is and what it isn't. As a soil scientist, to me, it's just having your soil function. And there are 5 major soil functions. Regulate water, infiltrate, and hold on to it. Cycle nutrients, provide physical support so we stand, we can drive, we can build buildings on it, have living things actually living in it, and filter and buffer. That's it. That's all your soils have to do. But we just have to treat them well so that they can do this. So the benefits of using soil health practices. This is just a short list. I didn't want to put too much on there because they say, you know, if you have too much information on the slide, it's a bad slide. I feel like it's already too much, but it's amazing. Of course, reducing erosion, that's always step 1. Increasing our soil organic matter so that we have more nutrients available, better nutrient cycling. Increasing our infiltration. The last couple of years, it has been so incredibly wet. We have runoff problems, we have erosion problems. Water isn't getting into tile. We have flooding in the rivers. We had an infiltration problem, and that's what we need to really focus on. Once we are able to open up that ground, let it infiltrate, and let that infiltrate where it falls instead of running off. We can actually make our wet spots less wet. increase plant available water. That might not be something that we've been concerned about lately, but there will be a year that is going to be, really important. Reducing that compaction so plants don't have to work so hard. Pest management. The more good organisms you have in the soil, the easier it is for them to battle the disease and pests that we don't want out there. It's just it's like your gut, biome. You need the good in there, you need to feed them, you need to have a healthy population of them so that they can battle that. Weed control management. Herbicide-resistant weeds. They're fun, they're so much fun, but we have other tools besides sprays that we can use against them. Increased profitability. Those guys are doing it, you heard from them. Extreme temperature precip. That's supposedly the way it's going to be going, so we got to get ready for that. Improve trafficability, get out there earlier, and reduce the mudding. All right, real quick, I gotta stop here. My family farms. I don't live close to home anymore, but trying to get them to go with this, and we've got into reducing it down to vertical tilling, and that's about it. Saving a lot of the trash on the surface. And even the co-op noticed, they said when they came in to spray the fields, they weren't slipping around, they weren't getting off track, they were able to go at a really nice speed, whereas the neighbors, they were slipping off all the time, and it took them so much longer just to go out and spray the field. So it was really cool that even at the co-ops, they realized the benefit of that, and they saw that. So we're getting there. We're getting in the right direction. Organic matter. Organic matter. It's one of the best things. 1% of organic matter can provide 25 pounds of nitrogen, 5.5 pounds of phosphorus, 2.5 pounds of sulfur per year. That's plant available. Per year. Yes. In your soil. And increasing our organic matter reduces erosion because it increases infiltration. It all works together. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Grazing cover crop residues. You've heard from those guys before too. Most of the time, if we take an average value of $40 an acre for the feed value, we get more feed value than it costs to put cover crops out there. Livestock, saliva, milk, all that, excellent for the soil. Feeds the soil microorganisms. Excellent. They're like probiotics. They're wonderful. Increasing soil health. How do you do it? Cover crops. Reducing tillage. You don't have to just go to no-till cover crops right away. Start small. Give it a try. Test things. Work your way there. Small grains. Yes, I wish we had better markets, but there are options out there. The small grains are excellent. Plus, then it's a lot easier to get a cover crop in after that. Conversion to pasture healand. That CHIP program, that new CRP, 3 to 5 years, I'm going too far. 3 to 5 years, they talk about soil health for cover crops. It's actually a permanent legume grass mix, but you can put that in your least productive acres for 3 to 5 years. It's awesome. So this is a really good opportunity for low producing acres. Avoiding wet or traffic on wet soils. We should always be doing that. Nutrient management and integrated pest management. Grazing. So it's not just all about cover crops. There's a lot of different ways that we can improve our soils. So let's hear it from the farmer instead of from the farmer.
Thanks. Can you tell Jennifer's passionate about soils? Just a quick story. Like I was talking about my kids. I have 3 kids, and my son is in the 1st grade. And I got a call from the teacher and said that Grayson was in trouble. He pushed down a little girl, and I'm like, what was that all about? Well, a while back, he was growing cover crops in a jar at home. He was all impressed with it. So he wanted to take it for show and tell. And he took it for show and tell, and the little girl came up and said, "Why did you bring weeds in here?" And he pushed her down and said, "Those are not weeds. Those are cover crops." I just had to laugh, and I'm like, how do you not smile? So Jennifer had a lot of charts and stuff, and what I'm going to do is talk to you about the economics on my farm. And I don't get too in-depth with numbers and different things like that. I was just in a training in Moline, Illinois about 3 weeks ago, and there was farmers there that had never started hadn't started with soil health, but heard a lot about it. walked into their local agency or government and said, hey, I heard a lot about soil health, how do I get started? And I thought back, because I worked for the NRCS for 15 years, and now I work for the Soil and Water Conservation District, along with farming 600 acres with my dad. And I really found out in the years that I did this, that I kind of got in my own way. When we first started it out, we always told farmers they had to have livestock to do this. They had to do a big, huge mixture to do this. 10 species, 6 or more species. And the farmer said, that was great, and he says there's the 5% people of the planet that are doing this, and then there's the 95%ers. And I really wanted to, as the Soil Health Coalition started to grow, I really wanted to feel like we want to get those 95%ers started. I think that's a big way to do that. So one of my trainings was the Conservation Tillage Conference, I do believe. We were at that. And there was a bunch of farmers that had never had it. They raised their hand and said they hadn't started it yet. And I said, all right, I'm going to tell you how to do soil health. Just start soil health. They got out their notebooks and their pencils, and I said, here's what you do. Plant your corn. Okay, they wrote that down. Harvest your corn. They wrote that down. Plant 1 bushel acre rye on your corn. Put that down. Plant your beans next year. And they're all sitting there like, that's easy. And I said, well, that's how you get started. And I think when we first started out, and then finding out from talking to farmers that haven't done that, make it simple. Do it simple. You don't have to do it after every crop. You just get them started. They will grow. They will grow into those 5%ers and make that grow. You'll see the benefits. And farmers want tangible things too. When I do speaking and stuff, I never once say that you're going to increase your yields. Ever. And maybe you do. I'll never say that. But I can tell you right now, if I soil save, each acre, it costs me $23 an acre to soil save. Most farmers can agree with that. If I field cultivate, that takes $15, $18 per acre to do that. That's tangible. So that's money right off the bat that I have saved. And nobody can argue that. That's Iowa State reps too. Somebody said that too. If you don't believe it, then blame Iowa State. But that is tangible. Farmers understand that, and that's money in their pocket. But then they say to me, well, we still got to do the cover crop. This last year, I put it on a bushel, 1.4 bushel an acre rye. Even if you just do the 1 bushel an acre rye, that's $10 a bushel for the rye. And you can seed it for, if you have a blown on, or how, if you drill it is the best, but if you drill it or blown on, that's another $10 an acre. So you're at 20. But as we talked already, we already saved 40, so I'm $20 a head. And then farmers are asking me, well, how do you know that you're getting somewhere? That's why I try to tell you the tangible part of that is because we talk about that money. But if you go 1% organic matter, that's 20 pounds a head right there. So if you can do that, keep crediting it. Because when I first started this 10 years ago, because when they talked about when I started, I was at 180 pounds of nitrogen. Now I'm at 140. So right there, that's 40 pounds. That's $20 an acre I can credit already off of that. That is also tangible. And I still do conventional. I do side by side because I like to do a lot of testing. So when I do talk to people, they're like, well, how do you know that? How do you know where that's not a test plot? I said it's side by side, same varieties. I want to be able to tell people in the same field, same treatment, same everything. So once we start working on that, and if I've already got that 20 pounds, I'm at $53, and I just jumped to $73 per acre. I'm take out 20, we're doing the rye, and soybeans into the rye. And one other thing, benefit we're finding out is most farmers that I help with this, there's the principles of soil health. And we all can appreciate that. The 5%ers can appreciate that. The 95%ers don't get it or they choose not to care. But if I can tell them you're going to increase your infiltration, that's all they're after, that's great. They're seeing their hard pan getting distributed, the tiles working better. And the most comments that I get back is like, you won't believe the damn night crawler's all over. There you go, don't destroy their ground, and then they're back. So that's tangible to a farmer too, but he's bringing us health principles with him. He might not know it. He's bringing it with him, but he's got his night crawlers, he's happy with that. And his organic matter going on. You don't have to have them, they just don't understand it, but they're bringing it with them. But we made it simple enough for these gentlemen to do this. I worked with roughly about 63 producers in our county, and we've lost 2 that quit soil health practices completely. So, and those guys are not doing something every year. but they're doing something. So if we can get them just to reduce that a little bit over a large number of acres, that's a big deal. And one of the co-op guys, we always hear 10 years ago too, when we first got started in this, the co-ops were the enemy, the crop consultants were the enemy, because they're applying the product, right? Well, I had an agronomy, or a co-op talk to me and said, well, yeah, we're kind of a little bit upset, you're decreasing your nitrogen. You know, you went down 40 pounds. I said, why don't we work together? He goes, what do you mean by that? How can we work together? I said, you do, our co-op, where I'm from, they do no-till drilling. So they drill soybeans, and they drill into my rye, the standing rye that I have out there. So you're charging me $14 an acre, right? So there's $14 right there. And I said, when I called you last fall, and I brought you 50, 1 bushel acre, a pound, 1.4 pounds of the rye, you blew it on. That's not working. I said, you're making more off of me doing soil health than you ever did selling that to you. He's like, well, geez, that's $4. And he started to figure it out. And the co-op itself does 32,000 acres. Where I live, they do 32,000 acres of no-till beans every year. So then he started doing the math, and then instead of fighting with those guys, is kind of join forces with them. You're going to have benefit with it. And then the co-op, the crop consultants, they're funny because they thought I'd been crazy for a long time, but now they said, it's not only you being a pain in the butt, but he said now other farmers are going to the co-op saying, I'm doing cover crops. So they have to have that a question on their sheet. They'll ask them, are you doing cover crops? So they have to plan for their chemical regimen and stuff like that. And I'm like, let's work with it, because I always tell everybody, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? So a lot of these crop consultants do the soil testing. So you know what your organic matter is. You know where you started. So you know if you gained. So you know if that 1% really mattered. You got that 20 pounds of hand. So that's what I did. We do grid sampling, 2.5 acre samples. So the crop consultant did that, so you got paid for that. And so that's where I know, like on some of the, I got one field that I've been 4 years continuous no. I don't do anything until I got it. And I raised it 1.2% organic matter in 4 years. And I could take, when I first started out, we did testing, Jennifer and I did, and it was like 1.3 inch. I think it was a 1.3 inch rain before it started to run off. Now I can take a 4.2 inch rain head on, and it doesn't run off. We got rid of our gullies. My dad wanted to tile, we don't do that anymore. So that's money saving too. But you gotta know where you were to know where you went, or going, or if it makes a difference. And one thing, I don't want to take up too much time, but one thing that's nice about it, working with these farmers, I've had bankers come up to me and ask, hey, there's a gentleman that's in trouble, can you help? So there's one gentleman that we worked with, he never gave me his name, he gave me all this stuff, all their information, I just tried this. Well, he was up to $73 an acre more. Just less inputs. He saved that amount of money. The banker then gave him more. He was able to farm. It got him out. So that's encouraging that we're getting soil health sometimes without even knowing that we're doing it. But we got to work with these farmers to help them survive. And just, we don't give them false things like your corn yields are going to go way up. If you never start with that, just give them the tangible, is what we're seeing. Give them the tangible that they understand. Everybody knows what soil saver is or DMI or a field cultivator. They get that. Farmers get that. So I think with us, with this coalition, the Soil Health Coalition, what we like about it, it's farmer-led and driven. So we have these conversations. We understand what everybody's going through. So that's where we can all get together and visit with them. And there's amazing people. You've heard speakers here all day today. These people are amazing, but how do we connect with them? That is the whole purpose and the point of the Soil Health Coalition, is make that connection. So if I'm doing corn soybean rotation, I started out conventional, and I'm doing half completely no-till, I can go onto that website and find that person that's doing it. So what's nice about it, I've taken a lot of the mistakes and stuff out there. Don and Grant, they use Don and Grant quite a bit, like they tell me, don't do this. Make it simple, get them started, and grow from there. So that's kind of our whole spiel with the coalition. As a farmer, I've been privileged to work with the agency and the farmers, so I can see both sides of it. But that's really what we're hearing more and more, is make it simple, get the 95%ers started, and then go from there.
If there are any questions?
Time for a couple questions.
All right.
you.